Have you ever tried to make a video and then you forget that one crucial important piece or part or anything that makes your process a whole lot easier? I forgot my tripod. So this is going to be a little difficult, but we'll manage, as I usually do. Welcome to the channel. I'm Crazy Jay. Let's get started with the Datsun today. We got a fuel rail to install and an injector upgrade to talk about and also do. This new fuel rail gets rid of this big ol' thing. For these engines, there's basically there's two or three options for a fuel rail, for a custom one. And I went with something that's a company that's fairly new to the L6. Fairly new to the L6 engine. I wouldn't say new, but fairly new to making products for them, I believe, because I only recently saw this about a year ago, and the company is it's either Pro Tuners or Pro Tuner Z. I think it's Pro Tuners. And I went with red because it was either red or blue. They were out of black and aluminum, polished aluminum. And this is the 14 millimeter O-ring injector fuel rail. This about opens up possibility for any injector I want to run in this car, because 14 mil is now pretty much the most common modern injector. So that's there. I'll explain that and go over it in a second. We have the mounting hardware in here. And of course, I've already looked at everything and oodled over everything. Stainless steel mounting tabs, spacers for the intake, and that right here is for the cold start valve if you're running one on here. This is for NA and turbo applications. Also, okay. I am not sponsored by anybody, so everything that I'm telling you about this is legit and not just me saying stuff. Because I forgot my tripod, we're going through the easy things that we can do to get this off on camera, and the rest of it I'm going to do on my own, I guess. Let's start and just, move that. That's the temp switch, or for the temp gauge, so I need to rewire that. 153624. Always know your firing order. You can have it memorized by heart, especially on inline sixes. They're super simple. So there's that. And let's cut to when this junk's all taken off. So all the injectors got unhooked. All the two fuel lines, they're unhooked. All the injector retainers, I guess, they're unscrewed. There's not been the pulley that holds that on, and the other side has been taken off. The fuel rail should just boop, come forward, come up. So this part is a little bit confusing. So here's the fuel rail. I don't have any injectors on it yet. It sits right about there. And it seems like it could use spacers on the outsides, but I'm not sure. So I guess let's put the injectors in here and put it on and see what happens. Now we get to talk about probably, I wouldn't say my favorite, but it's kind of fun. Injectors. These are 308cc injectors. They're not massive because I'm still running this on the stock ECU, and I just anticipate throwing more boost at it eventually. And I wanted something that was a little bit bigger, that was 14 mil O-ring that I could just put in. And these happen to be the same style, which I can put all of the old stuff on them and run them in the car. These are from a pre-96 GM supercharged 3800 and 308cc. I believe they're a low impedance injector. I'll have to look, and there might be a correction right here. And I'm putting them together. We're going to put them on the fuel rail and put them in. Okay, here's the confusing part. I'm going to set that, and it can sit like so. As soon as I batten down the hatches, I'm going to have space there, space there, space there, space there. No big deal. They supplied spacers, except 2 of them are that length and 2 of them are that length. So what one goes where? And I don't think there's a clear answer on what goes where, but I'm going to try and find it. So after a lot of cussing and frustration and a little bit of modification and busting knuckles and cussing some more, it's still not on. I don't even want to talk about it. That's how frustrated I am. The injectors are not a length that which these would allow it to line up. The stock bolts are too short to go through everything and hold it. And I'm at my wit's end. So I'm going to continue this tomorrow, go buy some longer bolts that are apparently the correct thread instead of being the wrong thread, and I will continue this in the morning. That last segment of video that you just watched was from November 20th. It is currently January 26th, and I have finally resolved the fitment issue of that specific fuel rail on this specific intake. I will talk more at the end of the video about that, but let's get into how I made it work right now. Since the car has been down for 2 months, I decided to redo a couple things, I guess. I tried to clean the engine bay up a little bit. I plugged off some vacuum lines and did some different, and cleaned up over here a little bit, remounted the coil bracket and coil, and then ran the PCV. I ran a PCV hose that I'm going to go with in front of the airflow meter and everything over here. Yeah, you can't see it, but it's up there. To make this work and that fuel rail, I went and bought a Pallnet fuel rail from Godzilla Raceworks. And I will tell you why, and I will show you why. So, unlike the Pro Tuner Z rail, this mounts to the factory fuel rail location threads. Yeah, I guess for lack of any other better word. I haven't mounted this completely yet because this thread is all screwed up from me putting a wrong bolt in there at a previous time. So these 2 injectors are in. They aren't 100% tight, but they're in. I haven't tightened them down yet, is what I mean. So as soon as I do that and bolt there, boom, installed on the injectors. Enough of my jabbering. Let's get these injectors in. And as I said, this mounts with 2 brackets, and just because what I did, they had to be bent a little bit, but really all of it's flat now and it lines up. So I've got all this stuff over here now. I guess just let's get started. So, injector. Simple enough, right? Yeah, I thought so. This part goes on first. Let's use this one. The clamp thing goes on first for this. Let's run it up like that. Actually, let's flip this around. And then nice and easily just right over it. I believe these are the same body as the factory injectors, so this is pretty much just the same throughout. And then this will go over like that. I like to take this and push it together. Now that that's on, I'm gonna move my tray out of the way and move that right in the hole, and I will bolt that down. However, because I'll have to look a little bit, but the other fuel rail, I had to either run them all like so or all like so, and depending on what way I do that, I have to use a wrench to bolt that in. But I'm just going to get it snug so I can still adjust it later, but it'll still be in there. We do that. Do that. Top one's threaded. The bottom one. Just gotta take a second. Move that. That's in, and I can still adjust it for final installation. And seriously, just like that. That's flush, that's flush. All 6 injectors are in loosely, which I haven't bolted them down or anything. But it seems too simple after everything that I've dealt with. Let's wrap this fuel rail video up real quick, and there will be a little bit more in a video coming up, just running the fuel lines and doing other stuff and actually running the car. But let's wrap this up. I just wanted to I want to stress enough that I don't have any issues with the company that made the other fuel rail. None. I just didn't like how it fit on here. And if you're still considering going through that company, I wouldn't tell you to not to, because this intake, I believe, is he told me that it's supposed to have shorter flanges on the one side and mine doesn't. So anyways, I've seen it on another stock intake, but I haven't seen it on the car, but I know that it fits their intakes. But I would recommend, if you have the stock intake manifold and you were looking for a fuel rail for your L series engine, that being an L6, I do not know if he makes them for the L4, but a Pallnet fuel rail from Godzilla Raceworks, because they are his dealer. And in the next couple of videos, this is going to be on, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful. And the big thing with this car is, fingers crossed, if I get everything together, it's going to go to a frame rack and get that frame rail pulled, and that will be another video update too. So I'm going to end this off here. Enough of me talking, because it seems like I did that a lot in this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a boosty one.